One of the really fun questions I get asked is how long does it take to build an app? And if you'd asked me 12 months ago, I certainly wouldn't have thought that after 12 months I would have only launched 2 apps. There's so much learning along the way. With automated categories, I might have had like the first version of a category rule within a couple of weeks, but there was just so much that learning around how to run background processes. So the first app had to go through all products and find a way that on all different BigCommerce plan sizes, I could paginate and make those queries and go through a product catalog. I'm used to, from a BigCommerce, from a Magento perspective, being able to do that, all kind of Magento side. Whereas this is kind of consuming an API, making sure you've got jobs that you can cope with it. And then, not even getting on to actually building the SaaS side of it, making sure we've got subscriptions working, making sure we're kind of putting everything on the invoice that we want, making sure that like the finance team are happy with everything. So that was a surprise. Then moving on to Visual Merchandiser and the Category Merchandiser app, it was a brand new API. I was part of the beta process, so obviously that took an additional like refinement piece going through all the bugs. And so going into like 2022, I've been asked the question, how long does it take to build an app, and what's like should our goals be for this year? And I think with everyone, I still don't know the answer. With everyone, I get a better idea, and I think the first few apps of this year, and I hope it is apps, within the first few months of this year, we'll be able to put some of that to the test, because there was so much, like in the first app of everything was a first. In the second app, even that, there was a first, and since it was the first second app, and so making sure our Stripe billing could cope with having 2 different products, and each app itself could cope with learning about your subscriptions to other apps. And so now, kind of fast forward to the new year, I've decided to pick on another like really small app that I saw kind of mentioned in the BigCommerce like community developer space, an app that is mostly surfacing again an API that is available around Metafields. So Metafields are sort of key value stores on categories, products, variants, and brands and orders. But they're mainly developer tools. But you can surface them in admin, and you can make the values available on in your stencil theme. So could actually be quite powerful to add additional content, having essentially sort of custom attributes to your categories, for example, to be able to switch things on and off in your theme. That seems really interesting. Fairly lightweight from a theme from an app perspective, because it's mostly kind of UI to an API that already exists. And so the first step for me was copying essentially a previous app that I'd built, knowing that it has all the foundation there, ripping out all the app-specific content or app-specific code, and then creating the stuff that's important for this app. And I'll quickly switch screens so you can at least like see what I'm talking about. So this app shows you the different Metafield types. You can go and find your categories. So here is my swag category, and then I've got a list of Metafields. Each Metafield has a namespace key and the content. This could be just like 1-0, could be yes, no, could be can it be JSON, like where you could store like stock locations and stock levels for each variant in each like store that you have, or it could just be WYSIWYG content. I know you've got Page Builder out there, but this, particularly if we get to the point where we get import export kind of nailed, then that could be very useful for importing sort of just static content to different categories. And then that took, I think, about 2 weeks from like essentially start to finish of the first version of the app that I could then submit to the App Store. All of that content takes a bit of time, building the marketplace profile, building documentation on Help Scout. There's always a few days for I've finally written a test plan and all the nuances where this UX is a bit buggy, and kind of there's always things you want to iron out to kind of get a gold-plated version without necessarily being gold-plated in terms of features. So yeah, I guess we're now like 3 weeks in. So 2 weeks in, I actually submitted it. It's kind of waiting for a review. I've taken another week almost to tidy things up, to document it, create some of the marketing around it, do videos like this, get feedback from people. So yeah, I think like right now, like it seems 2 or 3 weeks is what it would take for like the smallest app, which was mainly UI focused. I appreciate there was quite a few different UI screens here for the different entities, and making sure I had, categories list, products list, variants list. But that seems like a foundational level. So I feel like more confident now that how long does it take us to build an app? Well, at very least 3 weeks when you're kind of starting from scratch. And the more and more I build, the more I have reusable. So there's some parts here, like the category tree, that I was able to copy and paste from another app. There's like the foundation that is copy and pastable, and then there's components, whether that be kind of, for me, PHP kind of components and classes that I can copy and paste, and approaches that I can copy and paste, reusable knowledge as well as reusable code, and then actual React components that I can copy and paste between them as I build up kind of knowledge around, an app that manages categories, an app that manages orders. So yeah, it's been a busy 3 weeks, and hopefully we'll be coming to a marketplace near you soon.